Today, there are 2 million descendants of French-Canadian immigrants living in New England. These are our stories. Welcome to the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast.
Venez tous jeunes filles et garçons, je vais vous raconter l'histoire de notre immigration ici au USA, de grands aventuriers de pays étrangers.
This is the French-Canadian Legacy Podcast. I am Jesse Martineau. A couple of weeks prior to recording this particular episode, a group of Franco-Americans made the pilgrimage to the St. John Valley to be able to see for ourselves the Acadian history and culture of that area. It was an incredible trip, and this week I'm very excited to be joined by a legend of this incredibly important region, Don Levesque. Don spent 33 years.
A myth.
Don spent 33 years in community journalism, including 25 years writing a bilingual newspaper column on current affairs, frequently focused on French in the region. He has worked for the St. John Valley Times as a journalist, publisher, and editor. For the past 12 years, he has written a monthly column Club Français in that publication, which has now become The County Online. In 2002, Mr. Levesque was inducted into the Franco-American Hall of Fame in Maine, where he was one of the first ever journalists to receive that honor. And in 2010, he was inducted into the Maine Journalism Hall of Fame. Don, welcome to the French Canadian Legacy Podcast.
Thank you. I want to note straight out that neither one of those halls of fame actually exists physically. They're in the ether someplace.
Yeah,
I mean, still.
I was going to say, first of all, they certainly exist. They just don't have a physical building. Especially the main one is a huge deal.
Bro.
That's 2 more halls of fame than I've been inducted to. So that's a big win for you. That's awesome. Let's start with your story, though. I'd like to get you can tell kind of where you grew up.
I grew up in the world of French. I knew spoke French. Never heard of English. Never even knew there was such a thing until I started going to school. And then when we went to school, the nuns there started to teach us Chinese.
What?
Well, it wasn't Chinese. It was English, but it might as well have been Chinese for all we knew.
Sure.
You know? Yeah. So that's my entire world was in French. So you can say like maybe all know the Maine was a little Canada. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Where was this?
It's in Grand Isle, Maine, between Van Buren and Madawaska.
And so when you were growing up, obviously you would speak to your family in French. Would you speak the same like with your friends, your peers, everybody, just talk to each other in French?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We were punished in school for speaking French.
Really?
Copy 500 times, 1,000 times. I will not speak French in school. I will not speak French in school. I think it was 5th grade. Started with what the nun called a chip. They would give us chips, which were a movie ticket in the roll. You'd get like 10 chips. And at the beginning of the week, every time you caught somebody or they caught you speaking French, they would stick your hand under your nose and say, "Be wise, give me a chip." So you gave them a chip. At the end of the week, if you had a sufficient number of chips, whatever number the nun picked out of the air, you got a free weekend. And people like me never did.
Oh.
So, but we copied. I will not speak French in school hundreds of times and hundreds of times. I remember late at night, sitting in the kitchen table, everybody's gone to bed, and I'm still writing. I will not speak French in school, and counting.
Wow!
But now I'm sure the nun just went. She never counted to 500. You know.
Sure.
But I was a child. Yeah.
Of course. And to me, what's crazy, that is just a very different story than what I'm used to hearing down here in New Hampshire. Because my parents spoke their French as their first language as well, spoke it in the house. But they went to a Catholic school, half the day in English, half the day in French.
That would have been perfect, yeah.
But they, especially the religious, the nuns were very strict that anything religion related had to be in French. Like my dad likes to joke that he was an adult before he realized God might speak English. Because
that's right.
because everything religious had to be in French. They were very, very strict about that. But it seems like you guys weren't allowed to talk French, just period, even in a Catholic school, which is crazy.
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, nope. Right from kindergarten, 1st grade.
And I would assume the nuns that were teachers were from that area as well.
Well, we didn't know that. when I worked at the paper, they started dying off, and I would see their obits, Cormier, Sear, all these
Right.
French names,
Right.
but we didn't know that they spoke French.
To me, the fact that a bunch of kids who speak French, we got
Yep.
teachers who almost certainly spoke French in a religious school where, again, in the rest of New England, is for my Catholicism and the language were so
Hmm. Yes.
interwoven, but that wasn't the
Yes.
case where you are.
No, the saying is "père ta langue, père ta foi."
Exactly.
No, we were told we spoke some jargon. We didn't speak French. We spoke some jargon that no one understood. If we ever wanted to get out of Grand Isle, we better learn English. It was insidious,
Wow. Wow.
and we believed that, because they're our teachers, they're nuns, until we're
Sure.
lying. Yep.
And what did your folks think about this? Just out of curiosity.
No, they were fine with that. It was normal. I was in the same. Everybody was in the same situation I was in.
Yeah,
Yeah. I should give you my anecdote.
please.
When I met Lorraine, my wife, as we started going out, she was a social worker and decided to go back to university uh, for a special ed teacher. So she went to Moncton. So at that time, there was a passenger train going through here. I was going to university in Fort Kent. So I'd get on the passenger train and go down to see her. So the first time we go out, the club with some of her friends, and we're all sitting around a table drinking beer and everybody's talking. And man, I was so intimidated because I thought they spoke such perfect French. I didn't say a word.
Oh, wow.
So that the evening, Lorraine thought I didn't like her friends. I said, no, they don't speak such good French. What am I doing here at my Grand Isle French? So she changed my life by saying, we're going back with the same people tomorrow night. If they don't like it, say what you have to say. If they don't like it, we'll leave.
That's awesome.
So that worked for me. And then the next night we went out. And at some point in the evening, I made a joke. Everybody laughed. It was a real revelation for me. Too dumb to realize that if Lorraine understood me, they probably did too. But
Sure.
it's the brainwashing. You're told to don't speak French, some jargon. Yeah.
That
Anyway,
your
I
language is
survived.
inferior. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We don't speak Parisian French. Well, who the hell speaks London English around here?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know when my dad was in school, I've told this story before on the podcast. Both my parents, they had the same teacher. They had a teacher.
Mhm.
They went to like the Catholic school from first through eighth grade, then they went to public school for high school.
Right.
And so they went to the public school, and their first day of French class, they took all the people like my parents who spoke French in the house. It was
Right.
their first language, and made them sit by themselves in like a back corner of the room so that their French wouldn't ruin the French that the rest of them are trying to learn. So it wouldn't,
Oh, it's great.
so
Don't you
wouldn't,
feel special? You feel
yeah.
special.
And of course, my dad lost his mind because we got a teacher here who was not French. She learned it in
Yeah.
school. She probably didn't speak a word of French until she was like in college. And here she
Yeah.
is taking these people who's their native language, their first language, and saying,
Yep.
"Sorry, you don't speak right. Go go sit in the back
Yeah.
so you don't
Yeah. So
contaminate the rest of these students trying to learn."
so this was widespread. The jargon, you know,
Yeah.
it was widespread. Yeah. We had a teacher in high school come up grade 10 from downstate someplace
Yeah.
to teach French. And we were 27 in the class and he flunked 26 of us.
Oh, wow.
Because he just could not conceive. He wasn't there the following year, of course, but he just could not conceive that we spoke French fluently, but could not read or write it.
Oh, sure.
He would give us a dictée,
Yeah.
and he'd take 10 points off each mistake, so you get your paper back and you're like minus 150. You know, you know, you know?
You'd be better off not participating. Yeah.
Yes, exactly right. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how
Yeah,
weird it is, huh? Yeah.
that is great. It's funny because I have a friend of mine now lives in Montreal, but he's my year, grew up on the west side of Manchester, and same thing. He grew up speaking French in the house, but it wasn't until he got to school that he ever had to and got into a French class in school that he ever had to read or write it. Really.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it was
really.
blowing his mind. He
Yeah,
struggled with it big time.
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of self-taught. What helped me a lot was that my first job in a newspaper was on a bilingual newspaper in Grand Falls, New Brunswick, where everything was translated French and English.
Nice.
The ads, everything. So I learned a lot of nomenclature, which we don't ordinarily have, you
Sure.
know. And I learned by osmosis of grammar, spelling, all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
And
And
now I
like,
force myself to read French almost every day, and write French. Yeah.
I know obviously you weren't allowed to talk French in school, but even just socially with your friends afterwards, would you guys go back to speaking French, or was
Oh
it
yeah, oh yeah,
okay, good.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And how long did kind of that last in that region where French was like the just go about town language
I
that you would
believe it
hear?
was 1967. I believe Senator Elmer Violet Van Buren, Emilien Levesque of Madawaska, who was my dad's cousin. He was
Okay,
a representative, and they stood up in the legislature in Maine and made speeches in French,
that's amazing.
speaking for the rights of the French and all that stuff. So, kind of backwards of doing it is that they allowed French in school so they could teach them English. Limited English students.
You're right.
Yeah, so they didn't want to say French is okay, but yeah,
That's nuts.
it is nuts. Yeah, absolutely. So from 19, almost 50 years, when French was no French in school,
Sure.
there was a legislature, I believe 1917, 1918, till 1967.
And do you know how long your family's been in that region?
I'm third generation. The
Okay.
first one speaks English too.
Yeah, I can imagine. One of the things that did strike me when I was up there was the fact that we went across the bridge and we
Hmm.
went to a couple of different towns on the New Brunswick side,
Yep, yep.
and we didn't hear a single person speaking English, not one,
No,
on
no.
any place we went to there. It's not like this is a huge river. It's a pretty
Yes,
small
yeah,
river, and
yep.
yet it was like we had gone into a complete different world.
Country, country. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
definitely a different
World,
country, but it was just
exactly.
a
Yep.
different, yeah, which to me was, I guess, I don't know
I think
why
it's just
it
we're
made
so
such a
close to the
huge
Quebec
impression.
border. We're such close to the Quebec border. I think it's only about 10 minutes from here. No.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't as much like, because Mike was pointing this out, it wasn't as much that we heard French on the other side. It was that we didn't
Mhm.
hear a ton of it on the American side.
Yeah,
You would
that's
think that it's one community that you would
that's
hear more of it, right?
that's my mission. That's my mission
Yeah.
as the
Now,
president of the Club Français. Yeah.
Now, was it more prevalent even in the recent past that you could have where you could go to the grocery store and people would be talking to each
Some
other in French?
There are people that you have no idea they spoke French. For many, many years, I greeted people by saying bonjour
Hmm.
everywhere where I went.
Yeah.
And if they said bonjour, I would switch to English.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd say it. Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
But I was surprised how many people replied in French and spoke French. I didn't know spoke French because they don't have an accent, as far as I can tell. But they do. So I do that everywhere. You
That's awesome.
for many years, I think I told you this. I wore a lapel button that said "Je parle français."
Sure.
I would wear it when I go downstate for newspaper conferences and whatever. I never had anybody speak French to me, but I had quite a few people say, "I wish my mother was here. She'd love to speak French with you."
Sure.
I thought it was so sad, that it was not transmitted to their
Yeah.
children.
And I can't help but think some of those lessons you learned in school may have
Hmm.
contributed to why that was.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
And you're
yeah,
told that
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
inferior.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also a feeling that the parents said my kids are not going to go through what I went through because of their French accent, and.
Yeah. I don't know about up there in that region because there was such a huge percentage of the population, a larger percentage of the
Mhm.
population that was
Right.
French speaking than here in Manchester. But I know in Manchester, speaking French was almost became synonymous with being low class because
Oh, right, right,
you
right.
were the grandchildren or children of the people who worked in the mills, and then I can't. I got to figure that's got to be a reason why my sister and I weren't taught growing up. I mean, it was both my parents' first language, and
Yeah,
they never taught their
yeah, yeah,
kids.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, my kids aren't going to go through what I went through. Mhm.
How did you get into journalism?
It was kind of by accident, actually. Um, I had my degree as a teacher, and man, that wasn't for me. What am I going to do? I have no idea. So I went to the unemployment office and they said, well, the newspaper here is looking for somebody to sell ads. And I was in Edmonton. So I went and they hired me, but man, I was too English for them. I couldn't
Oh,
read
wow.
French or write it. Yeah. But I love the atmosphere. I love the people I work with. And I just wanted to be around that. So I went to Grand Falls, which was a bilingual paper, and then they hired me to sell ads and do layout, and I did everything there, basically. So I was there for about 7 years learning French. And then when I came to Madawaska in '85, I came there selling ads, but then went into the newsroom, I believe, in a year or two, because I was a news hound anyways. Yeah, I liked it, was the thing. I like the atmosphere. I'm around people who read.
Does a bilingual paper still exist up
I'm
there
not sure
now?
if it still does. Not sure if it still does. Grand Falls. Grand Falls is becoming very English. Yeah, it's on the edge of the English section of New Brunswick. We're on that edge. Yeah.
And how common is it for people? Because like I said, it's not a very big river, and the border
No,
is super, super easy to go through. I was the only one in line in both directions. How common was it then, or is it now for people to live on one side and work on the other?
that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
had the privilege of paying taxes on both sides. It's for a good cause. It's not like they waste it or anything.
No, of course. They would never do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was about 5 minutes from the office actually. So still cross 3, 4 times a week. Yeah.
Which to me kind of just adds to what I was saying before. It blows my mind that if we have this interchange so
Yeah,
much with people living on
exactly.
one side, working on the other,
Exactly.
having friends on the other side, family on
Yep.
the other side, how is it
Yep.
possible though that we don't have more just
That's
day
what
to
I
day French being spoken on
that's what
the
I tell people is
in
that
the American
there,
side? Yeah.
there are 300,000 people in New Brunswick who speak French.
Yeah.
Probably about 8 million in Quebec.
Right.
How come we don't speak French? I remember at a school board meeting, I was there as a reporter, and somebody stood up and they were teaching Spanish in school. And then he said, as the school board said, what language do you think that they teach along the border in Texas? So Spanish.
Yeah.
He said, what? He said, why do we teach Spanish when we're right
Exactly.
next to Quebec?
Right.
And they went, ha, 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 school boards, ha, ha, ha. Thank you for. But man, he had a good point.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, it doesn't make any kind of sense because
Exactly.
in the story that you're describing of people being told, not to speak French because it's English that's going to open up
Yes,
more opportunities for you. But
exactly.
clearly, in that region, if you can speak French, that's going to open up opportunities
It
for you.
seems to me, yeah. I'll give you a good example. The guy he was working in New York, and because he was from up here, spoke French. He was dealing with a big company in France, and the guy in France says, "Oh, my daughter is going to be an exchange student in Maine." And I said, "Oh, where's she going to be?" She said, "Madawaska." And he said, "Well, that's where I'm from." And so she came up here, and I don't know if you guys say down there, probably Whale,
For
Whale,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. My grandmother would say
So
that all the time.
yeah, so anyways, the girl's up here for a couple of weeks, and she calls home, and she's talking to her parents, and she goes Whale, and her parents are going, "What?" So we
Yeah.
corrupted her. We corrupted her. Soon enough.
It's it's pretty it's funny because that specific word phrase whatever it is
Yes, yeah,
so I studied French in Quebec for 6 months
right.
in
Was it to learn French or to improve your French?
I spoke very little going in,
Okay,
not
okay,
very much at all, so to learn. But I grew up around it. Like I could
yeah,
hear it. Like my
exactly.
grandparents all spoke to each other in French, all of
Yep,
them.
yep,
Like my
right.
great aunts, whatever, who would be around for the
Hmm.
holidays, would all speak to each other in
Yep,
French.
yep.
But I was up there and I used that word just in our conversation in class.
Yeah,
Whale.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
asked me to spell it, and I'm like, I have no idea. I have no clue. I could not tell you what it starts with.
Yep,
They're asking me, just give us a couple letters. No. And that was the first time that it clicked with me how you can use a word regularly and have no
yes,
idea how to read it
yeah,
or spell it. Because at that
yeah,
point, I was sure I could read it in a book and have no idea what it was.
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Right. Yep, interesting. My daughter designed a shirt for me and it says Wayon.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Wayon. Wayon. She spelled it.
Phonetically, wow. No,
Yeah,
that's pretty fun. It just seems like there's a lot of opportunities up there, which does get me to Le Club Français. Will you tell
yeah.
me, what is Le Club Français?
Started in '94, actually. A study done in the region saying that if something was not done, French was going to disappear very rapidly, and they were right. So
Yeah,
they formed the Club Français. For 29 years, they were pinching pennies, and if there was a window that leaked, it was a major crisis. So
yeah.
Monsieur and Madame Mixel were teachers at Northwestern University in Chicago. She was from France, and somehow she heard that there were French people up here. So she and her husband came up, visited the area. So she started helping us financially. But then when they died, they had no children or relatives. They left us a very generous amount of money, just in time for me to become president. Good timing. Yeah, yeah. So now we have programs. We have it's not money that we're missing. Ideas. I'm impatient. I want to get it done. I want to be like who is it? The Kool-Aid man break through the brick wall, and where everybody makes a magic potion or something where everybody thinks like me, and wants to learn French. But
There you go.
then I remind myself I've only been doing this a year and a half, so I need to be a little patient.
Yeah, probably more than a year and a half. But I mean, just looking at some of the things that you guys already put together, it
Yeah,
seemed pretty cool. I mean, you have scholarships, you get sponsorships for
yeah,
competitions, stuff
yeah,
like that. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. We spend about $200 a year. That's 200,000 a year,
That's wild.
giving to students, programs, festivals, stuff. The Acadian Festival, which is almost entirely in English, and if you want to have something in French, I'll pay for it. You know, so they're going to have the chanteur acadien sing at a senior citizen picnic because we sing it and we compose and sing French about us, about the valley. You know, so so that'll be different. We play nursing homes too. You know.
Yeah, oh, I did want to get into that. So you got you have your band that
Yeah,
that performs in the region. So how did that come together? How'd you end up jamming?
this was 1985, 88. It began. Roger Dombois, who was a teacher, special ed teacher in Madawaska, formed a small group of students to sing. He called it La Boîte à Musique, I believe,
Mm,
and to sing old Acadian songs. And they went to perform at the University of Maine, Fort Kent. And the president then, Barbara Leondar, said, we should do something about this. So she contacted a couple of students, musicians, to form a group. So they formed the Chanteur Acadien in 88. And they started, I believe there were 6 of them. So there have been 6 people, there have been 8 people. Right now we're down to 3. And that works fine. You
sure.
know, well, yeah, we go to nursing homes basically. But in the summer we play festivals and so that's always fun. We hardly ever get paid. So what? You
That's
know?
not what you're there for. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, paying gig once in a while, which is nice.
No, that's just what do you play?
I play guitar. Yeah, yeah. I compose the songs. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I suppose, and I bring it to them, and then we work on them. Pretty cool.
That sounds way fun.
Yeah,
You play
I
guitar like
joined
your
them. Yeah,
pretty much your whole life?
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was young, my cousin from Connecticut gave me a used ukulele, baritone ukulele,
Wow. Okay.
and a friend of mine tuned it like a guitar, like the. I don't remember if he did the first 4 strings or the last 4 strings. Anyway, and that's where I learned my chords.
Oh wow, that's
playing
cool.
playing on that baritone ukulele.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
when did you
yeah.
join this crew?
I joined in I believe '95 or '96. So now it's fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in nursing homes. I'm playing for people older than me, or younger than me. I'm 77.
Well, you're still playing, you're entertaining. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, oh yeah,
I wish
oh yeah.
I
Right.
should have I could have brought some drums up. We could have jammed while we were up
Hey,
there.
there you go, man. That's
Next
right. We need
time.
a drummer. We need a
Well,
drummer. We have a
I'll have
guitar,
to
two guitars, mandolin, harmonica. You know.
I'll have to sit in next time. Make my way up
That's
for
right.
sure. So I do have some questions too about some of the things you
Sure.
do for this club that you
Hmm.
because it seems like it's way active, which is very, very awesome. And even mentioned like you have French game nights.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah, we invite parents and their students and whoever wants to come up there. They play tuck. They play shalamang. People, checkers, whatever. Play dominoes, and they all speak French. Yeah, yeah. There's no penalty for speaking English, or
You don't
you
make
just
them write
do
it
it.
500 times?
No,
No.
no, 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 no. Just do the best you can. Even if you're not very good, just get in there. People are friendly, and they'll try to help you. We had sandwiches that you pick up at the supermarket. They
Sure.
give you a tray. Yeah, yeah, that stuff. It was nice. Yeah, yeah. We're at the Senior Citizen Club in Fort Kent, and a guy I graduated with works there. I graduated at the university, and he made poutine chômage. Poutine
Not for
chômage is it's a piece of cake with the maple syrup. It sits in maple syrup. It's just incredible.
that sounds amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. So he made that. He made a whole tray for us. And I said, Don, how much does it cost you to do that? I'll pay you. Yeah, he never wanted to. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, there's good people. Yeah. Yeah, the French game night is popular. Well, could have had more, but there was a baseball game the following night, but it looked like rain, so they moved the baseball game the night before, so a lot of parents and students were there.
Oh, I see.
But still, we still had like 2 dozen people. So it was nice.
That'd be fun if we. It's for me. It's some of my friends. We like to play board games. We had like a French board game day. I think that would be a
Tuck,
blast.
yeah, to
I
play
think that
tuck.
I play that every Sunday
Oh, really?
evening with my
Yeah.
parents.
No, we didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was, but there were some kids there, and they were teaching adults how to play it. And then,
Yeah,
one of our members, Connie, she's one of the organizers of that. A couple of parents called her and said, "Where can we find a tuck board?" So she bought a couple in Canada for them.
yeah. My uncle, my uncle makes them. He lives up
Oh, there you go.
in Vermont now.
Yep.
But yeah,
Well,
it's
that's a weird thing to hear up in Vermont.
yeah, yeah,
For
that
me,
is true. Yeah, there's nothing's up from where you are. Yeah.
no, no.
But but yeah, it's fun. I bought like a replica WWE Championship belt.
Oh yeah,
So
oh,
whoever
cool.
wins gets to take home the belt for the week. I
That's
did
all
not
right.
I did not win this past Sunday if I'm
No,
being honest. So
no,
I gotta go get my belt back.
no.
But yeah.
I played Chalamang card, and my partner got beat real bad until I stood up and somebody else sat down.
Oh really?
then he started winning again.
That's awesome. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds way fun. I would like, especially I know in this area anyway, a lot of the French we get together to play cribbage all the time.
yeah. There
That
you
was
go. Yep,
that was a big thing here.
yep, yep.
And
That's right.
I would like to get going. Right now I just play cribbage on my phone against a fake computer. So I would love to get an opportunity to start playing it again. But no,
That's
what is this the rec department? I know you missed some
yeah.
of
We contacted the reg department. So what if we offered a French program this summer? They do all kinds of things. And she said, "Yeah, we'll try it out." And we were hoping to get half a dozen kids, but we're up to 22 already.
nice.
It's going to be learning French, not in the classroom setting, but being outside, doing things, and you know, there's a lot of interest in that. Uh, High school program, French after school, um, the regional French spelling bee, which we've been doing for several years. We offer $10,000 in prizes in that. So scholarships we give to the top students who graduate and excel in French. I believe this year we have 5 of them. So they each getting $2,000. Nice. And they're selected by the teacher.
This conversation's flown by. I do want to ask, I guess, big picture, ideal, 5 years from now, what is the club looking like? What is the club doing? What are the goals for what
I'm
you hope to
hoping,
do?
yeah, I'm hoping in 5 years from now we also reach adults and not just children.
Sure.
We have a conversation in French for adults, conversational French, and that's half a dozen people, and I'd like to have more of those. I'm hoping to expand into Central Aroostook, Caribou, Limestone, Fort Fairfield. There was a hub of a lot of people there French at one time. So I'm hoping to do that beyond the valley. That's my goal. Also, my goal would be I would like to find somebody somewhere who has successfully brought French back to an area. And I said, how did you do that? I'm reading, I read those French All Around Us, not in there.
No.
No, it's not in there. Yeah,
Just volume 2 just came out.
yeah, I do. I just read it. Yeah, and it's still not in there.
No.
The magic pill's not in there. The magic potion is not in there.
No, I don't have an answer for you for that. If you do find it, though, let me know because I'd like to pass it around. I'll pass it around
right.
Manchester.
That's right. I like what Tim Bullion said in there, talking about Franco-Americans need to get together, exchange ideas and that stuff. I've been to many downstate, conferences and that stuff in French, and I leave there frustrated. First of all, my history is nothing like yours.
Yeah.
French history.
Yeah.
They came here to raise families. They didn't work in mills. We didn't get called names because we were in the majority.
Sure.
So trouble related to this. Also, I got frustrated sometimes when we're validating French in English.
Oh, sure.
I know why they do it,
Right.
because not everybody understands French, but still a little bit frustrating. That we're validating French in English. Almost an oxymoron,
Yeah. No, for sure. I know Mike and I've done 2 episodes in French of the podcast, but the vast majority are in English, obviously. And we were criticized quite a bit for that when we first started. And my answer to always was that there's a lot of people who I wanted to hear these stories who would not be able to hear them if they were in French.
Yeah.
So it's either tell them in English or we don't tell them at all.
Yeah. I understand that completely.
We've been speaking with Don Levesque. Don, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
It was fun. Nice talking to you.
Now our fathers look at us and sigh with despair, to think that everything they love we simply do not share. But the spirit never dies, our culture will survive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive.
Special thanks to Josie Vachon for providing the music. You can find more about her at josievachon.com. This podcast was produced and edited by Mike Campbell. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at fclpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FCL Podcast for more information about the topics discussed. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this episode.